CEO attends a charity event expecting just another night of networking, until he comes face to face with his college ex and realizes she's carrying his child. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now subscribe to the channel and let's get started. The ballroom of the Prescott Hotel shimmers with crystal chandeliers and the gentle hum of polite conversation. It's the annual Futures for Children Benefit Gala in Boston, a prestigious charity event that draws high-profile donors from across the country. Among the throng of elegantly dressed philanthropists and corporate sponsors stands Nathan Fuller, a 29-year-old tech prodigy who founded a billion-dollar startup at just 22. Tall and confident in a tailored suit, he effortlessly commands attention wherever he goes. Nathan initially intended to make only a quick appearance, deliver a speech, pledge a generous donation, and then disappear back into his hectic schedule. But something about tonight feels different. Perhaps it's the faint undertone of nostalgia drifting through his mind as he scans the crowd. After all, Boston is the city where he spent his college years, forging relationships and memories he's never quite forgotten. The hostess on the stage welcomes everyone, explaining that the event's purpose is to fund educational programs for underprivileged kids. Nathan takes a moment to appreciate the cause. He's always believed in creating opportunities for the less fortunate. He checks the time on his smartwatch. Another hour, he tells himself, and then I'll leave. Suddenly, a flurry of activity by the entrance to the ballroom catches his eye. A poised, professional-looking woman in an understated black dress is guiding a group of volunteers. Her posture is familiar. Her hair, dark, pulled back into a sleek ponytail, sparks a distant memory. Nathan narrows his eyes, trying to place her face among the swirl of recollections from years ago. Moments later, the woman turns around to address a donor, giving him a perfect view of her profile. Instantly, his breath catches. Emma Walker. The name bounces inside his mind like an echo from the past. In a flash, he's back at college, wide-eyed, ambitious, and hopelessly in love with the brilliant journalism major who once challenged him to think more deeply, to dream more boldly. They hadn't parted on bitter terms exactly. Life had simply pulled them in different directions after graduation, but the sight of her now, in charge of the Gala's organization, is enough to send a jolt through his heart. Nathan tries to conceal his shock. He wonders if Emma has seen him yet. From across the room, Emma is indeed aware of his presence. A quick glance out of the corner of her eye confirms her biggest fear. Nathan Fuller, the CEO whose name had graced many a headline, is standing in the same ballroom, scanning the crowd in her direction. Emma's heartbeat quickens. She's the event organizer for this prestigious benefit, a testament to her talent and dedication. Yet this is the last place she ever expected to run into him. Why tonight? Why now, of all times? Her immediate instinct is to avoid him. 6 months prior, they'd had an unexpected run-in during one of Nathan's business trips, sharing a fleeting but meaningful day together. Soon after, Emma discovered she was pregnant. Convinced Nathan was engaged at the time, she'd seen mention of a rumored fiancé in the press, she made the painful decision not to contact him. She told herself she'd handle it alone. She had to. But fate has brought them together once more, and Emma isn't sure how to handle this collision of the present with her carefully guarded secret. She pretends not to notice him, focusing instead on instructing the volunteers to manage seat assignments and direct donors to their tables. Nathan, despite the quickening drumbeat in his chest, approaches a table of donors, exchanging pleasant small talk. His voice projects confidence, but his mind is elsewhere, replaying the last time he saw Emma. That day, they'd reconnected briefly, an afternoon coffee, a conversation that felt too short. He remembers the flicker of regret he felt when they parted ways again. Later, he'd ended his engagement, realizing he couldn't fully commit when thoughts of Emma lingered in his mind day after day. "Mr. Fuller, it's an honor to meet you," says an older gentleman at the table, extending a hand. Nathan smiles politely, shakes it. The honor's mine. Thank you for supporting tonight's cause." His lips form the right words, but his eyes keep searching for Emma. Where did she go? Near the stage, Emma lifts a clipboard to hide her face as she hurries out of the ballroom. She slips into a quieter side hallway that leads to a small office used by staff for event coordination. Her hands tremble. She's thankful for the hush of the corridor, away from prying eyes. The last thing she wants is a dramatic confrontation out there in front of donors and sponsors. Inside the office, the overhead light flickers. She sets her clipboard down on a desk stacked with event brochures, sponsor packets, and reams of schedules. Unsteady, Emma sinks into a chair. Her mind churns. He's here. She presses a hand to her abdomen, remembering she's now 5 months pregnant. She questions the swirl of emotions, fear, anticipation, and the inescapable truth that she never really forgot him. A soft knock at the door startles her. Before she can respond, the door opens slightly. Standing there, looking determined and somewhat anxious, is Nathan. "Emma," he says quietly. The single word carries the weight of all those unsaid questions they've both been harboring for so long. She stands up abruptly, the chair wheels squeaking. Her gaze darts to the exit. I'm busy. The event is in full swing. I know," Nathan interrupts gently. "I'm sorry to barge in, but I saw you leave. We need to talk." Her eyes flicker with uncertainty. She feels the urge to protect herself, to say something snappy or dismissive, but those old sentiments make her hesitate. This really isn't a good time, Nathan. The donors? They can wait 5 minutes, he insists, voice calm yet charged with emotion. "Emma, when I saw you just now, it felt like everything stopped. There are things I've wanted to say, things I need to tell you." Emma edges backward, her hand instinctively brushing over her slight baby bump. "We're at a charity gala. I'm working. There's no time for a long discussion, especially not about the past." Nathan notices the tension in her stance, the way she's almost cradling her stomach without realizing it. A stray memory hits him. Didn't one of his associates mention that the event organizer was on partial rest a couple of weeks ago for health reasons? Could it be related to... "Emma," he tries again, stepping closer. "I ended my engagement months ago. I realized it wasn't right. I couldn't stop thinking about you, about that day we spent together." She stiffens. Her eyes reflect a swirl of conflict. "I thought you were still with her. The news, your social media posts. I assumed you were off planning a wedding." He shakes his head. "The rumors ran wild, but we called it off quietly. It was my fault that I never clarified it publicly. My PR team wanted to keep it discreet until the deal with my investors was sealed. God, Emma, I had no idea. I had no idea you'd think I was still with her." Her pulse pounds. Every fiber of her being screams to keep the truth hidden. Yet one glance at Nathan's worried expression melts her defenses. She stands there, speechless, waging an internal war. "Why didn't you reach out?" he presses gently, seeing the hesitation in her eyes. "You must have known I'd want to see you." Emma lowers her gaze. Tears threaten to form. "Because I believed you were engaged, and I didn't want to complicate things for you or for me." Slowly, she rests a hand on her abdomen. Nathan follows her movement and finally notices the subtle curve. His heart seems to skip a beat. For a moment, his thoughts scramble. Is this? Could it be? He exhales softly, voice trembling with realization. "Emma, are you—" The door behind them suddenly pushes open. A volunteer pokes her head in, clearly anxious about the schedule. "Ms. Walker, the opening remarks are in 3 minutes. We need you at the podium." Emma nods, clearing her throat. She struggles to compose herself. "Right. I'll be right there." She meets Nathan's eyes again, emotions swirling. "We'll finish this later," she whispers, stepping past him. He wants to follow, to demand answers, but he stays rooted, allowing her the space she needs. As she disappears down the hallway, he can't tear his gaze from the place where she stood. The magnitude of possibility stuns him. Could the baby be his? Had she been alone in this all along? The echo of her retreating footsteps resonates in his mind like a countdown, pushing him to act. If there's a chance that Emma's child is his, Nathan knows he can't just walk away. Not this time. The applause echoes through the grand ballroom as the opening remarks conclude, but Emma Walker barely hears it. Standing behind the stage curtains, she steels herself for a series of introductions and acknowledgments. The evening is important. Dozens of underprivileged children rely on the funds raised here. Yet, her thoughts keep drifting to the man standing at the edge of the crowd. She casts a quick glance at Nathan Fuller, who appears distracted, his gaze fixed on her with unmistakable urgency. It's as if he's silently willing her to come closer to continue the conversation that was so abruptly cut short. The master of ceremonies calls her name. Taking one steadying breath, Emma steps onto the small stage. A sea of elegant faces and glittering attire greets her. Somewhere among them, Nathan watches. Her heart thrums with trepidation. She begins to speak, her voice clear despite the turmoil within. Good evening, everyone. My name is Emma Walker, and it's my honor to welcome you all to the Futures for Children Benefit Gala. She thanks the sponsors, highlights the children's mentorship programs, and speaks passionately about the importance of educational support. Applause rises at all the right moments. Donors nod in approval, but beneath her polished exterior, Emma's world feels like it's tilting. She can sense Nathan's eyes on her. When the segment ends, she hands the microphone back to the MC and exits to polite cheers. In her hurry, she nearly collides with a volunteer in the backstage corridor. Sorry, Emma mutters, hand pressed momentarily to her stomach. She needs a moment to breathe, to gather herself. Spotting an empty side room near the catering station, she slips inside. The room is dimly lit, filled with stacked chairs and boxes of gala supplies. Emma closes the door, leaning against it. She can't stop thinking about the conversation in the office, about how Nathan's face changed the instant he suspected she was pregnant. A swirl of conflicting emotions seizes her. Isn't this exactly the scenario she'd tried to avoid? She'd convinced herself that staying quiet was best. For him, for herself, for the baby. No more illusions of a fairy tale reunion. She'd do everything on her own. Her phone buzzes with a text from a coworker reminding her to check in with the caterers. She sighs, determination flickering. Focus, Emma, she tells herself. It's one night. Get through the event. Yet her mind betrays her, replaying that moment 6 months ago. How she and Nathan ended up laughing over old memories. How a simple coffee meetup turned into a tender, heartfelt day together. She remembers how even then, something inside her warned it was too risky. And now, here she is, 5 months pregnant, unable to stay hidden any longer. Just then, the door opens quietly. Nathan stands on the threshold, expression uncertain, but unwavering. I'm sorry. Again, I saw you come in here. We really do need to talk. Emma swallows hard. Her every instinct screams for her to maintain the professional facade. But there, under the hush of overhead fluorescent lights, face to face in a room nobody else even knows exists, the pretense crumbles. Nathan, please, not tonight. This gala is too important. People are watching. He closes the door behind him. All the more reason to talk somewhere private, he says softly. You've always put everyone else first, Emma, but you can't avoid this forever. His eyes flick briefly to her midsection. If you are pregnant, if it's my child. Tension surges, an unspoken question hanging in the air. She curls her fingers into her palm, scanning the boxes and stacked chairs as if they might hold an escape. Don't corner me like this, she says, voice trembling. Yes, I'm pregnant, and yes, it's yours. Nathan exhales, pressing a hand to his temple as if to steady himself against the magnitude of her words. 6 months ago, he struggles to find the right phrases. That day, after I left, I tried to call you. I never got a reply. Emma's jaw tightens, recalling the missed calls and the texts she purposely ignored. I believed you were still engaged. The news, the tabloids, your fiancé's social posts, everything pointed to you being in the final stages of wedding preparations. His frustration is evident, but overshadowed by regret. I ended that relationship for good, but I couldn't exactly publish a press release about my personal life the moment it happened. My investors were pressuring me to keep my life squeaky clean until a crucial merger went through. No drama, no gossip. I never imagined you'd... He trails off, taking a step closer, his gaze flickering with concern. Emma, you've gone through this alone? For months? Stifling tears, she half turns away. It's my life, Nathan. My responsibility. I built a good career, enough to support my baby. I don't need your pity or your help. Emma, it's not pity. His tone is gentle yet firm. I've never stopped thinking about you, about us. And if this child is mine, I want to be part of their life. She shakes her head, fear flickering in her eyes. Even if you do, it's complicated. My world isn't your business empire. I don't expect a CEO of a billion-dollar company to put everything on hold for me or my baby. Nathan takes a measured breath, fighting the urge to protest that he would do exactly that, put everything aside, if it meant making things right. But he knows Emma well enough to tread carefully. I'm not asking you to let me take over. I'm asking for a chance, for the sake of our child, to figure this out together. Emma's hand trembles against the back of a metal folding chair. She imagines the potential scandal, the tidal wave of media speculation if the public discovered that the revered boy wonder of tech has an unexpected baby on the way. She sees the heartbreak of being overshadowed, her identity replaced by sensational headlines. Yet, another part of her yearns to let him in, remembers the kind of man he was, the kindness that balanced his ambition. Nathan, she finally manages, her voice low. I was serious when I said I'd handle it alone. It wasn't just an impulsive decision. I weighed everything. Your ambitions, your lifestyle, my independence, and I accepted it. His expression clouds. You accepted it. But did you ever stop to consider what I might want? He runs a hand through his hair, frustration mingling with empathy. Don't I deserve a choice in this? A chance to be the father I couldn't have imagined being until I saw you tonight, until I realized the truth? Emma bites her lip, tears threatening to spill. For a moment, the tough exterior wavers. I didn't want to trap you, she whispers. I saw your engagement announcements. I followed the stories about your expansions in Europe. You seemed unstoppable. And me? I'm just Emma, the event coordinator. I have no illusions about your world. A wave of protectiveness surges within Nathan. He steps closer, gently placing a hand on her arm. You're not just Emma. You never were. Back in college, you were the only person who dared to challenge me. You'd scold me for skipping classes or chase me for not reading the right books. You made me see beyond profit and code. None of that's changed. She closes her eyes, fighting back a sob. Outside, the muffled hum of the Gala continues. Music and clinking glassware remind them both that time is ticking. Emma steps back, gently extricating herself from his touch. We can't settle this here, not with hundreds of donors expecting me to juggle a million details. I have responsibilities. Nathan straightens, aware he's overstepped. I understand. But this conversation isn't over. He lowers his voice, determined. When the gala ends, let me take you home. Or we'll go somewhere quiet. I can cancel the rest of my evening. I'll do whatever it takes. Emma's lips part, hesitation swirling in her gaze. I have to think, she says softly. You dropped a bomb on me too, Nathan. I've been convinced for 5 months that you'd be better off without us." The sincerity in his eyes is unmistakable. "I'm not better off without you, or without our baby." A wave of emotion rushes through her, so powerful she has to look away. Before she can respond, a volunteer's voice calls through the door. "Ms. Walker, we need you for the keynote introduction in 2 minutes." "Coming," Emma calls back, voice shaky. She glances at Nathan. "I have to go." He nods, stepping aside. "I'll be here. Whatever you decide tonight, I'm not leaving without talking to you again." Quietly, Emma slips past him, returning to the swirl of the event. Nathan lingers for a moment, alone among the stacked chairs and dim lighting, feeling the weight of the revelation settling on his shoulders. A child, he thinks. His child. He inhales, squares his shoulders, and prepares to follow her. Whatever chaos awaits them in the public eye, whatever complexities Emma fears, he's resolved to face them. The vow sits in his mind like an unbreakable promise. He won't lose Emma again, and he won't abandon the life they created. Outside the side room, the gala continues in full swing, unaware that behind the polished veneer of charitable festivities, 2 people are grappling with the most important moment of their lives. The main ballroom thrums with newfound energy after the keynote speech. Gentle orchestral music mingles with the hum of conversation, and tuxedoed waitstaff weave deftly through the crowd, offering champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Emma Walker stands near the stage, discreetly coordinating the next segment of the night, a live auction that promises to raise significant donations for underprivileged children. She forces a poised smile whenever a guest approaches, deftly answering questions and guiding them to their seats. Yet beneath her calm exterior, an emotional tempest rages. Just minutes earlier, she had confessed to Nathan Fuller, her once college flame-turned-billionaire tech magnate, that she was 5 months pregnant with his child. The magnitude of that conversation still reverberates through her, tinging every moment with tension. From the corner of her eye, Emma spots Nathan amid the crowd. He stands by a marble pillar, answering the queries of an older couple who clearly recognize him from magazine covers. Even as he engages them with polite small talk, his gaze flickers toward her. Emma pretends not to notice, turning away to greet another donor who extends a hand in welcome. "Ms. Walker!" A man's cheerful voice booms from behind. She spins to see Frank Mayweather, a longtime supporter of the charity. His broad grin and jovial air suggest nothing but good intentions. "Mr. Mayweather," she greets with warm professionalism, "thank you for attending again this year. We appreciate your ongoing generosity." Frank waves her gratitude aside. "Happy to help, my dear. I'm actually looking for that young tech wizard, Nathan Fuller. I hear he's going to match donations tonight, dollar for dollar. Is that true?" Emma's pulse quickens. She hasn't yet announced that arrangement publicly. Nathan must have decided it on the spot. Or perhaps he cleared it with the organization's board privately. Either way, the news is startling and inconvenient. She glances in Nathan's direction, noticing he's no longer by the pillar. "I believe Mr. Fuller is still finalizing details," she replies with tact. "Let's confirm a bit later once the formal announcement is made." Frank nods, satisfied for the moment. As he strolls off, Emma feels the weight of admiration for Nathan stirring something within her, both pride and unease. Is he offering the donation match to support her cause, or is it purely philanthropic on his part? A volunteer signals that the live auction is about to begin. Emma steps onto the platform set up at one side of the ballroom, behind a tall podium. Over the microphone, she introduces the auctioneer, reminding attendees of how their bids will fund mentoring programs, school supplies, and scholarship opportunities. The audience applauds enthusiastically. The lights dim, a spot illuminating a small elevated stage where each auction item will be presented. The first lot is unveiled, a private sailing trip around the Greek Isles. Bidding escalates with dizzying speed. Emma tries to focus on the progress, taking note of the big spenders in the room. She feels a pulse of relief whenever a paddle is raised. These funds will transform children's futures. The second lot is a weekend getaway in Napa Valley, culminating in a tour of exclusive vineyards. Hands pop up around the room, and the auctioneer's voice rises in excitement. Emma glances toward the back, locking eyes with Nathan. He stands next to two of his colleagues, fellow tech entrepreneurs perhaps, and he's listening intently. His eyes flick toward her momentarily. She tears her gaze away, cheeks warming. Halfway through the auction, a hush falls as the staff reveals a coveted art piece by a celebrated contemporary painter. The bright swirls of color on the canvas catch the overhead lighting, sparking murmurs of admiration among the crowd. Bidding starts high. Emma's heart leaps when, near the back, she hears the auctioneer call out, "$300,000 from Mr. Nathan Fuller." A buzz ripples through the guests. Emma's breath catches. Nathan lifts his paddle, wearing a determined expression. Another donor counters with $350. Nathan raises it again to $400. Whispered excitement travels the length of the room. Some people appear shocked by his eagerness. At last, the hammer falls. The art piece sells to Nathan for a stunning sum. The audience erupts in applause while the cameras click, capturing the moment for society pages and online bulletins. Emma's heart clenches, battling conflicting thoughts. Pride in seeing her charity's cause benefit from Nathan's wealth, and wariness that more entanglements will bind them. When the auction ends with a record total raised, Emma steps forward to thank the donors. She's in her element, poised, articulate, full of gratitude. On the outside, she is every inch the successful event organizer. Inside, her mind spins with possibilities. What will happen after tonight's festivities? How will she handle the conversation to come? The crowd disperses for a short intermission. Guests mingle, sipping wine, admiring the newly purchased items on display. A cluster of photographers hovers near Nathan, snapping pictures. Before she can slip away to check on behind-the-scenes details, Emma feels a presence at her side. She turns to see Marissa, a longtime friend and fellow organizer. Marissa's eyes widen with quiet concern. "You doing okay? You look a bit pale." Emma forces a tight smile. "Long day. Just need some water, I think." Marissa offers her a bottle. "You're usually a rock at these events, but I can tell something's up. Is it that VIP who keeps staring at you?" Emma's throat tightens. She swallows, deflecting. "Old acquaintance from college, that's all. We're talking." Marissa's brow furrows, but she respects Emma's boundaries enough not to pry further. "Well, if you need anything, let me know. The night's almost over. Just have to get through the last announcements, then we're free." Emma nods, grateful for the supportive presence of a friend who won't push her too hard. "Thanks, I will." As Marissa walks away, Emma checks her watch. Less than an hour remains until the formal program ends. She goes through her mental to-do list, present the final fundraising total, thank the top donors individually, ensure the staff handles gift bags. Meanwhile, in the back of her mind, Nathan's words echo, "When the gala ends, let me take you home." She's not sure how to respond. Half of her wants to retreat into the protective bubble she's built for herself, avoiding scandal, heartbreak, or the vulnerability of letting him see how scared she truly is. The other half acknowledges that she's never been good at shutting Nathan Fuller out. A few minutes later, a flurry of curious glances ripples through the banquet hall. Over near the small stage that was used for the auction, Nathan steps up to the microphone. The soft clinking of glasses fades as people sense something big is about to happen. Emma's heart leaps. She didn't schedule any cameo from him at this juncture. Nathan's poised, a slight tension in his jaw. Cameras swivel to capture his every move. "Good evening," he begins, voice echoing across the hushed room. "As many of you know, I'm Nathan Fuller, founder of Visionaire Tech. I'd like to commend Ms. Emma Walker and the entire Futures for Children team for hosting a spectacular event. Let's give them another round of applause." A hearty ovation follows, and Emma feels her cheeks burning under the flattering spotlight. When the applause subsides, Nathan continues. The work this organization does resonates deeply with me. Education shaped my life. Without scholarships and mentors, I wouldn't be standing before you. This cause is personal, which is why I've decided that Visionaire Tech will match every donation tonight, dollar for dollar, up to 1 million. Gasps ripple through the audience. Emma's eyes widen in genuine astonishment. She'd suspected a large contribution, but matching the entire night's haul, especially after already spending hundreds of thousands on the auction, feels monumental. A surge of excitement courses through the crowd. Reporters rush forward, snapping more pictures. The event MC steps in, praising Nathan's generosity. Donors look positively giddy at the notion that their contributions have effectively doubled in impact. Emma can't help but admire the magnitude of his gesture, yet a storm of conflicted thoughts brews within her. While the philanthropic act is extraordinary, is Nathan doing it purely out of altruism, or is there a deeper motive? Part of her wonders if he's declaring in the only way he knows how that he's committed, not just to the organization, but also to the child he's only just discovered. Emma draws in a shaky breath. The final portion of the gala begins, dinner service. Guests take their assigned seats around beautifully decorated tables. Nathan, however, moves through the throng in search of Emma. She senses him before she sees him. The hair on her arms prickles. When their eyes finally lock, it's as if the rest of the room fades. The swirl of elegantly dressed figures becomes background noise. He inclines his head, silently asking if they can talk. Emma, equally speechless, nods. She slips away from the table of donors she was greeting, motioning for him to follow her to a quieter corridor near the coat check. There, under soft overhead lights, the tension feels more intimate, charged. Her pulse hammers. She clears her throat. That was, unexpected. Matching all donations up to 1 million? Nathan shrugs lightly, sliding his hands into his pockets. I wanted to support you, support the kids' futures. She bites her lip, scanning his face for hidden intentions. It's incredibly generous. The organization will be overjoyed. An awkward beat passes. He gently steps closer. This doesn't have to do with me trying to buy your forgiveness, if that's what you're thinking. I've always cared about causes like this. You know that. Despite her internal turbulence, Emma nods, remembering how back in college Nathan once organized a coding workshop for local underprivileged teens, refusing to take any credit. Even then, he believed in giving others a chance. That conviction had drawn her to him initially. He lowers his voice. Emma, about tonight, about us. I know you have your own life now, your own plans. But I meant what I said earlier. I'm not going anywhere. I want to be in our child's life. I have to be. Tears well in her eyes and she blinks them back fiercely. Before she can respond, the MC's voice booms through the hallway speakers, announcing the final donation tally and urging all guests to reconvene for closing remarks. Emma sighs, swallowing the lump in her throat. It's time to wrap this up. She steadies herself, attempting a calm expression. Afterwards, maybe we can go somewhere. Talk more. Nathan's gaze softens with relief. Yes, please. She nods, turning on her heel. But before she steps back into the bright clamor of the gala, Emma pauses. In a voice barely above a whisper, she says, Thank you, Nathan, for caring, for everything. He opens his mouth, but no words come. She's already gone, blending into the swirl of tuxedos and gowns. Alone in the corridor, Nathan exhales a breath he'd been holding. Though the night is nearly over, he senses that for them, this is only the beginning, the start of a journey filled with unknowns, a path they'll have to navigate together if they want to find redemption, and perhaps a renewed sense of belonging in each other's lives. The final announcement of the evening stirs a thunderous ovation among the elegantly dressed guests. Emma Walker, standing at the podium for her closing remarks, offers a gracious smile, her heart pounding for reasons far beyond the success of the gala. Lights flash as donors pose for pictures, and the hush of polite chatter vibrates with excitement about the record-breaking funds raised. "Thank you all, from the bottom of my heart," Emma says into the microphone, her voice resonant despite the myriad thoughts colliding in her mind. "With your generosity and Mr. Fuller's remarkable donation match, this organization can expand its mentorship programs and offer scholarships to children in need. Your presence tonight truly changes lives." A standing ovation follows. Emma's chest tightens with a cocktail of pride and anxiety. Amid the applause, she spots Nathan Fuller standing at the back, hands together in a measured clap. He meets her eyes, an unspoken promise hanging between them, a vow to have the long overdue conversation before the night ends. As soon as she steps off stage, staff members and volunteers close in to congratulate her, peppering her with questions about next year's event or potential corporate sponsors. She navigates the crowd with a polite nod and smile, but her focus remains on the hallway where Nathan promised to wait. "Emma!" calls a breathless volunteer, hurrying over with a clipboard. "We need your signature on the final auction settlement form, and we have a journalist from the Daily Ledger asking for a quick interview." Emma clenches her jaw, resisting the urge to glance at her watch. Time is slipping, and she can almost feel the tension rising like an electrical current in the air. Still, she forces herself to keep composure. "Send the auction papers to my office. I'll sign them tonight. As for the interview, where is the reporter?" "By the coat check," the volunteer replies, hurrying off to handle another task. Emma threads through the thinning crowd, greeting a few last-minute donors as they depart. The entire evening has been a whirlwind of generosity, but also a test of her emotional resilience. She passes the coat check, expecting to see a reporter with a press badge. Instead, she finds Nathan leaning against the wall in a quiet corner, jacket draped over his arm as if he's been waiting for her. They lock eyes, and for a moment Emma forgets what she's supposed to do next. The chaos around them recedes, leaving only the tension in his gaze and the flutter of her own pulse. "Hey," he says softly. "Did the event officially wrap up?" She nods, tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear. "Yes. The volunteers will handle the cleanup and leftover details. I should—" She hesitates, scanning the corridor. "I have one more person to speak with, someone from the Daily Ledger, but that shouldn't take long." Nathan inclines his head. "I'll wait. Take your time." Emma's heart does a little somersault at his unwavering patience. She pivots away, scanning the room for that elusive journalist. Eventually, she finds a young woman with a camera bag slung over her shoulder, flipping through notes on a phone. They exchange quick introductions. The reporter, bright-eyed and eager, asks about the impact of the newly raised funds, the importance of corporate partnerships, and the significance of Mr. Fuller's match. Emma delivers polished answers, seamlessly weaving in the charity's mission. At the end of the interview, the reporter lowers her phone. "Just one last question. Off the record," she says, eyes darting momentarily in Nathan's direction. "Are you and Mr. Fuller? There's some buzz about whether he attended tonight specifically to support you." Emma's cheeks flame. "He and I attended the same college. We're old friends," she offers diplomatically. "I'm grateful for his contribution to the cause." The reporter nods, evidently aware there's a story beneath the surface, but not pressing further. "Thank you for your time." Emma departs with a courteous smile. Inside, she wonders how long it'll be before rumors swirl. Photos of them glancing at each other could feed a dozen speculative headlines. But there's no turning back now. Returning to the coat check area, she nearly collides with Nathan, who's stepped forward, worry etched in his face. "Everything okay?" he asks, his tone laced with concern. That reporter seemed pretty inquisitive. Emma's lips twist in a wry smile. "It's fine. She wanted a soundbite about the donation match, then a little personal question, but I handled it." He nods, but something in his eyes suggests he's uneasy about the looming media spotlight. Despite it, he keeps his voice gentle. "Where to now?" Emma inhales. The question carries weight. It's not just about stepping outside, but about crossing a threshold in their relationship, deciding whether to talk, to reveal everything, and to hear his side. "Let's get out of here before someone else corners me," she says quietly. "We can take my car. I'll text Marissa to lock up." Nathan pats his jacket pocket, likely where he's stowed his car key fob. "I should probably ask my driver to wait. But if you prefer your car?" She musters a small, grateful smile. "My place isn't far from here. I'd rather avoid any more attention." Translation: I want a private conversation, away from photographers and curious volunteers. They head outside through a staff exit, slipping into the cooler night air that wafts across the deserted side alley. City lights illuminate the asphalt in soft hues of gold and blue. Emma leads him to her modest sedan, which feels worlds away from his sleek, chauffeured lifestyle. She unlocks the car with a beep, and they climb in. The quiet click of doors shutting underscores their sudden isolation from the bustling Gala. Silence drapes over them as Emma starts the engine. She grips the steering wheel with tense knuckles. Her mind reels at the reality of what they're about to do. Sit down, talk about their unborn child and the impossible choices they have to make. Nathan in the passenger seat steals a cautious sidelong glance. "How are you feeling?" he asks. Simple words, but laden with meaning. He's asking about much more than just the end of a hectic night. She exhales, shifting into gear. Exhausted, nervous, but mostly, "I'm ready to talk." The drive passes in a blur of streetlights and whispered directions. They avoid the main roads, hoping to slip by without paparazzi or social media onlookers. Emma clenches and unclenches her jaw, her thoughts swirling. How does she tell him about the prenatal visits? The nights she spent awake, worried about finances, bracing for single parenthood? Soon, they arrive at her apartment building, an unassuming brick complex in a quieter district of the city. She parks in a small lot, kills the engine, and for a moment, neither of them moves. Overhead, a street lamp casts long shadows through the windshield. Finally, Emma speaks. "I'm on the second floor. No elevator. You all right with stairs?" Nathan almost smiles. "I think I can manage." They climb the narrow staircase, her footsteps echoing against concrete walls. At her door, Emma fumbles with keys. Nervous energy hums in the space between them. She can't quite believe that Nathan Fuller, the man whose face graces business magazines, is about to see her modest, lived-in apartment, the one decorated by bargain furniture and thrift store finds. The door swings open, revealing a cozy living area dimly lit by the glow of a small table lamp. The decor is simple, personal touches scattered around. A knit blanket draped over the sofa, framed photos of Emma with friends, a stack of event planning notes strewn across a coffee table. She flips on a light, taking in a shaky breath. Nathan steps inside, gaze gentle. "This is nice," he says, sincerity in his tone. "Feels like you." Emma can't help a self-conscious laugh. It's far from a penthouse or a mansion, but it's home. She drapes her coat over a hook and gestures toward the couch. "Please sit." He does so, resting his elbows on his knees, scanning the space. Emma perches on the opposite side, a cushion separating them. For a beat, neither speaks. The only sound is the distant hum of traffic outside. Finally, Nathan breaks the silence. "Emma, I know I keep saying it, but I'm sorry for not being clearer about my relationship status, for not finding you sooner. If I had known you were pregnant—" She cuts him off gently, her voice quivering. "I wouldn't have told you even if I knew you'd ended your engagement. I was set on protecting you, or at least that's how I justified it to myself." She rubs her forehead, memories flooding back of the confusion and heartbreak when she saw tabloids announcing his wedding date. I kept thinking I was sparing everyone from a scandal, but mostly, I was scared of getting hurt again. Nathan's eyes brim with empathy. I wish you hadn't gone through that fear alone. Whatever our complications, I wouldn't have wanted you to shoulder it by yourself. A tear slips down her cheek, and she quickly brushes it away. Sometimes I hated you, she confesses, voice trembling. I hated that I still had feelings for you, that I resented your supposed new life, and then I hated myself for caring so much. Nathan moves nearer, closing the gap between them on the couch. I never stopped caring for you, Emma. The moment I saw you at that coffee shop 6 months ago, I realized I was making a mistake in my engagement, but you disappeared the next day. I tried to reach out. She nods, remembering the string of missed calls she'd ignored, too hurt to pick up. I blocked your number on impulse, she admits. Seeing you again made everything feel so unfinished. The confession hangs in the air. Nathan lets out a shaky breath, gathering the courage to say what he's held back all evening. So now we have a baby on the way, he whispers. The words linger, echoing in the quiet apartment. He lifts his gaze to her. I want to be here for you, every step of the way. Doctor's appointments, ultrasound visits, late-night cravings, anything. Will you let me? Emma inhales sharply, emotions colliding. I'm not sure how, she says with raw honesty. My life isn't set up for the spotlight, and your world is massive. It chews people up, spits them out. If this goes public, my job, my privacy, everything changes. He dips his head, acknowledging the truth. It will be complicated. The media might swarm, but I can protect you, shield you as much as possible. My public relations team can manage the story. He sees the doubt clouding her face. I know that doesn't sound comforting, but I promise I'll do whatever it takes to keep your life from becoming a tabloid spectacle. She studies his features, the sharp angles softened by earnestness, the concern etched in his brow. What about your investors? Your board? Weren't they the ones who demanded you maintain a squeaky clean public image? A faint, ironic smile touches his lips. My breakup with my former fiancé was already a curveball for them. This might be another, but I'm not letting corporate pressure dictate my personal life anymore. Too much is at stake. Her throat tightens. She wants to believe him, to trust that he's willing to weather the storm. But a decade of fending for herself, plus the heartbreak of watching him seemingly move on, has built a fortress around her vulnerability. You say that now, but there's a long road ahead, she murmurs. I know. He lifts a hand, hesitates, then gently touches her arm. It's a question, asking for permission to be closer. She doesn't pull away. Emma, I'm not just offering to write checks. I'm not just offering fatherly duties on weekends. I'm talking about us. Maybe it's naive, but I still care about you. I never stopped. Tears threaten again. She closes her eyes, letting the warmth of his touch anchor her. For all her fears, there's something profoundly comforting about the man she once loved standing beside her in the reality of this moment. I need time to think, she manages, voice thick. We can't just pick up where we left off in college. Nathan nods. Absolutely. I won't rush you, but can we at least agree that I'll be part of the baby's life? That we'll figure out the rest together, step by step? Emma steels herself, gazing into his earnest eyes. She can sense the weight of this decision. Accepting his involvement means trusting him with her deepest vulnerability. Yet the alternative is to deny their child a father who seems desperately willing to be there. Okay, she breathes. We'll try. On a trial basis, I guess. We'll see how it goes. Co-parenting, being discreet. But if it gets too crazy with the media... She lets the sentence trail off, uncertain how to frame her ultimatum. Nathan nods, relief radiating from him. I understand. We'll handle everything as it comes. Tenderly, he adds, Thank you, Emma. She swallows, her emotions too tangled for coherent speech. The tension in the air morphs into a quiet, pulsing hope. They talk for another hour, about the timing of her next doctor's visit, about practicalities like scheduling and finances, about how to keep things under wraps until they're both ready to share the news. Eventually, exhaustion seeps into their voices. Outside the living room window, the city is dark and still, a hush that matches the fragile peace in Emma's small apartment. Nathan glances at his watch and notices the late hour. "I should probably let you rest," he says gently. "It's almost 2 a.m. Emma nods, the tension in her neck a reminder of how long the gala day has been. She rises from the couch and walks him to the door. There, beneath the warm glow of a single lamp, they pause. Uncertainty flickers in the space between them, so much left unspoken and yet so much already revealed. Nathan looks like he wants to say something more. Instead, he lifts his hand in a brief gesture of farewell. "I'll call you tomorrow?" he asks, voice tentative. A fragile smile curves Emma's lips. "Yeah," she murmurs. "That'd be good." He steps into the hallway, lingering a moment. Then, with quiet resolve, he turns and makes his way down the stairs. Emma closes the door, pressing her back against it, heart pounding. In the emptiness of her living room, she's overwhelmed by what just transpired. Relief and fear, hope and apprehension, they all swirl through her in equal measure. For 5 months, she believed this conversation could never happen, that she was destined to face motherhood alone. Now, everything has changed. She crosses to the small table lamp and clicks it off, darkness descending around her. Even though the path ahead is fraught with uncertainty, a flicker of possibility breaks through her guarded heart, like the first ray of dawn peeking over the horizon, promising that no matter how complicated things get, she won't have to walk this road by herself anymore. Morning light filters through the curtains of Emma Walker's bedroom, a gentle golden glow that contrasts sharply with the whirlwind of emotions churning inside her. She lies awake, staring at the pale ceiling, recollecting every word exchanged with Nathan Fuller the night before. The day after the gala should be a time for her usual post-event wrap-up, drafting thank you emails to sponsors, tallying final donation numbers, but now there's a far bigger shift in her life to consider. Emma finally pushes off the covers and sits at the edge of her bed, resting her palms on her knees. Her phone rests on the nightstand, silent. She wonders if Nathan will call her first, or if she should reach out to him. A twinge of anxiety twists in her stomach. She has so many questions. How they'll handle the pregnancy reveal, whether she's truly ready to let him into her guarded world, whether his bold statements about stepping away from corporate pressure can hold up under real scrutiny. Taking a steadying breath, she tells herself there's no immediate deadline for final decisions. They agreed to figure things out step by step. A gentle flutter from within her abdomen brings a smile to her lips. 5 months along, the baby's movements are stronger now, tiny reminders that she's never really alone. She rubs her belly, comforted by this new life that both terrifies and thrills her. "One day at a time," she murmurs. After a quick shower, she dresses in comfortable jeans and a soft sweater, avoiding anything too constrictive around her growing bump. Her hair, still damp, frames a face etched with traces of restlessness. She brews some tea in the small kitchen, the familiar aroma of chamomile settling her nerves. Before she can take the first sip, her phone buzzes. She almost spills the tea in her haste to grab it. Checking the screen, she sees Nathan's name. Her heart leaps. Clearing her throat as though he might hear it, she answers. "Morning," comes his voice, gentle and a little tentative. "I hope it's not too early." Emma glances at the clock, 9:15 a.m. "No, it's fine. I'm awake." A slight pause as if he's relieved. "I wanted to give you space, but I also didn't want you to think I'd forgotten everything we talked about. How are you feeling?" She takes a moment, exhaling slowly. "I'm okay. Tired from the gala. A little overwhelmed." She closes her eyes, recalling his earnestness from last night. "You?" Nathan chuckles softly, though there's a note of tension in his tone. "My phone's been buzzing since 5 in the morning with press inquiries about that matching donation. I told my PR rep to handle them. But I'm good. More than good, actually. Last night it was something I've been hoping for a while." A wave of emotion washes over Emma, balancing precariously between gratitude and lingering skepticism. She sets the teacup on the counter. "Last night felt surreal, honestly. But we do need to talk details at some point, like the next doctor's appointment or anything you want to be part of." He hesitates, as though touched by her willingness. "Let's. Whenever works for you. Also, if you're up for it, maybe we could grab lunch or something simple. No paparazzi, no big announcements, just a conversation." Emma thinks of her schedule. She has phone calls and a brief meeting at the charity office to finalize the post-gala paperwork. But midday is free. She finds herself nodding, even though he can't see her. Lunch could work. Where? Someplace quiet. He sounds eager. "I know a small Italian restaurant in the West End. Family-owned, not flashy. Usually no press lingering around. We can meet there, say around 1? Emma chews her lip. The idea of stepping into a public space with him triggers a sliver of worry, but she tells herself it's just lunch. "That's fine. Text me the address." They exchange goodbyes. After hanging up, Emma notices her hands trembling slightly. She brushes it off, telling herself it's just nerves. An hour later, she's in the cramped basement office of the Futures for Children organization, nestled among boxes of leftover brochures. The hum of the air conditioner mixes with the muted sounds of city traffic outside. Marissa, her close friend and fellow event planner, sits across a battered metal desk, rummaging through receipts and donation pledges. "You pulled off a miracle," Marissa says, not looking up from the stack of papers she's sorting. "We crushed every previous fundraising record." Emma forces a small laugh. "Nathan's matching donation gave us a huge boost." She tries to sound casual, but she can't ignore the flutter in her chest at the mention of his name. Marissa's eyes flick up, catching Emma's expression. "Speaking of which, there's a rumor going around that he did it more for you than for the cause. Any truth to that?" Emma's cheeks warm. She arranges some paperwork, stalling. "He's always been big on philanthropy," she hedges, ignoring the deeper truth. "We went to college together. He knew how passionate I was about this organization, so maybe that influenced him." Marissa arches a brow but doesn't push, returning to the donation forms. Emma feels a swell of relief and guilt. Eventually, though, she knows she'll have to open up, if only a little. Marissa is one of her few confidants. "Listen," Emma begins, her voice subdued. "Nathan and it's complicated, but we're talking things through." She hesitates, not quite ready to reveal the pregnancy yet. "Just don't be surprised if you see him around more often." Her friend's face softens. "I'm happy for you if that's what you want. But be careful, Em. The media loves a power couple story, and the last thing we need is for your name to get dragged into gossip columns." The mention of media gossip makes Emma's stomach knot. "I'm aware, trust me." Marissa pats Emma's hand, the conversation shifting to safer topics, like verifying the big donor's checks and planning a debrief meeting. Still, Emma senses Marissa's watchful concern, and she silently vows to be honest when the time is right. By noon, Emma has wrapped up the essential tasks. Before leaving the office, she lingers at the door, double-checking her phone. Nathan's text with the restaurant address pings just then, along with a short note. Looking forward to it. A smile ghosts across her lips as she gathers her purse. Part of her remains on edge, uncertain how lunch might unfold, but another part can't deny the flicker of anticipation. She arrives at the modest Italian eatery a few minutes early. Nestled between a laundromat and a flower shop, the place exudes an unpretentious charm. The windows are decorated with red and white checkered curtains, and a small chalkboard sign outside advertises the day's specials. Emma inhales the savory aroma of tomato sauce and oregano as she steps inside. A kindly hostess greets her, and Emma notices the dining area is nearly empty, just an older couple in a far corner, engrossed in their meals. This suits her just fine. The hostess, who seems to recognize Emma's reservation under Fuller, leads her to a discreet booth near the back. Moments later, Nathan appears at the door, scanning the room until his gaze settles on Emma. His expression brightens, relief evident in his posture. "Hi," he says, sliding into the booth across from her. He's dressed down today, dark jeans and a casual blazer. He sets a phone on the table face down, perhaps to signal that she has his undivided attention. "Hi," Emma returns softly. She can't help but notice how, despite the casual outfit, he carries the same focused energy that makes him a formidable CEO. They place drink orders, a sparkling water for Emma, iced tea for Nathan. Then the hostess leaves them with menus. For a few seconds, they flip through the options in polite silence. Emma can almost feel the questions simmering between them. Eventually, Nathan sets his menu aside. "Emma, I've been thinking all morning about next steps." He glances around to ensure no one is listening. "When's your next doctor's appointment? I'd like to come if that's okay." Her chest tightens at the simplicity of his request. She's never pictured a scenario where the father of her baby steps in willingly, especially not like this. "It's in 2 weeks, just a routine checkup and possibly scheduling an ultrasound." Yeah, you can come." The corners of his eyes crinkle in relief. "Thank you. Let me know when and where, and I'll make sure I'm in town." He hesitates. "I'll keep my schedule flexible." Emma nods, touched by his determination. "All right. I'll text you the details." They glance at the menus again, though clearly neither is in a rush to talk about the linguine or eggplant parm. Emma sets hers down. "We should also figure out how and when to tell people, if we're telling them at all right now. I'm already showing somewhat. It's not super noticeable yet, but in a month or two it will be." Nathan leans forward. "I'd like for us to make the announcement on our own terms, not as a tabloid leak. But I'll respect your comfort level. If you want to keep it private a while longer, I'll follow your lead." Her lips part in silent gratitude. After all her fears about being overshadowed by Nathan's fame, hearing him offer her the reins in this decision means more than she can express. "Thanks. Let's keep it quiet for a bit. I want to mentally prepare for the onslaught." He nods, a flicker of regret crossing his face. "I wish I could guarantee the press wouldn't make a circus out of it. My life's been under a microscope lately, especially after the breakup and that massive donation. But we'll do our best." He shifts, lowering his voice. "If you ever feel pressured or uncomfortable, tell me immediately. I'll handle it." The reassurance steadies her. Just then, the hostess returns to take their orders. Emma chooses a simple pasta dish, mindful of her pregnancy diet. Nathan orders a fresh basil and mozzarella panini with a side salad. After the hostess departs, Emma places her elbows gently on the table, meeting Nathan's gaze. "Can we talk about us outside of the baby?" she ventures, heart pounding. "Because it's been years, Nathan. We've both changed. I don't want unrealistic expectations." He exhales, pondering her words. "I agree. We can't just pretend the past decade never happened, or that we can snap back to who we were in college, but you still matter to me. More than I can say." His voice is soft, sincere. "I'd like to see where this goes if you'll let me. Without rushing or any pressure, I'm willing to earn your trust, step by step." Emma's throat tightens at the vulnerability of his confession. She's not sure if it's hormones or genuine sentiment, but she feels a pang of hope so strong it nearly brings tears. "I do care about you," she admits quietly, "but I'm also afraid of getting hurt. I've spent years building a life where I rely only on myself. Letting you in is a lot." "I know," he says, voice gravelly with emotion. And I'm not asking you to tear down your walls overnight. Just let me be here, in your life. Not as some distant father figure, but a friend. Maybe more. We'll go slow. Emma inhales, steadying herself. Their conversation is interrupted by the waitress delivering the drinks. She sips her sparkling water, grateful for the slight break. Through the restaurant's front window, a couple strolls by, oblivious to the delicate conversation happening inside. Emma catches a glimpse of her reflection in the glass, her brow pinched with worry and longing. She steels herself and returns her attention to Nathan. Her voice emerges softer than she expects. All right, we take it slow. Keep the pregnancy quiet for now, and you'll come to the next appointment. She taps her fingertips nervously on the table, one step at a time. Relief blooms across his face, and for a split second Emma recognizes the bright-eyed college student he used to be, back when their entire future felt open and brimming with possibility. The server arrives with their plates, and Nathan murmurs a thank you, returning his gaze to Emma with quiet gratitude. They begin their meal in a gentle hush, occasionally exchanging small smiles. The tension that once hung between them now starts to recede, replaced by a tentative sense of partnership. The baby, perched between their two worlds, remains the focal point they're both striving to protect. In that unassuming Italian restaurant, their fragile truce takes shape, a promise to meet uncertainty together, to navigate the complex weave of public image and personal devotion, and to rebuild what was once lost in the bright shadow of their separate ambitions. Though the road ahead is long and complicated, for the first time in months, Emma feels less alone. Nathan's presence, cautious yet determined, signals that maybe, just maybe, they can bridge the gap between fear and hope. The baby's gentle flutters within her feel like a quiet affirmation, echoing the same question that's lighting up Emma's heart. Could this be the start of something real and lasting after all? The next 2 weeks feel like a delicate balancing act for Emma Walker. By day, she's busy wrapping up final gala tasks at the charity's modest office, preparing sponsor reports, sending thank you notes, and tallying the record-breaking donations. By night, she's home in her small apartment, wondering when and how her once comfortable solitude will shift into co-parenting, something she's never done before. Her phone buzzes more frequently now. Sometimes it's Nathan Fuller, checking to see how she's feeling, or asking if she needs help with errands. Other times, it's discreet inquiries from the charity's board, curious about how she single-handedly secured such a massive donation match. Emma fields both lines of questioning carefully. Although she and Nathan agreed to keep the pregnancy hidden for now, she's well aware that rumors swirl in the philanthropic circles. One afternoon, Emma finds herself at a small cafe near her office, flipping through a pregnancy magazine she impulsively bought. Articles about birth plans and nursery designs fill her with conflicting emotions: excitement, fear, and a lingering sense of disbelief that her life is pivoting so drastically. She can't help imagining Nathan's presence at doctor's appointments or how he might react to a baby registry. As she stirs a chamomile tea, a soft ping announces an incoming text. Nathan, 2:12 p.m. How's your day going? Her heart does a small somersault. She types back, Emma, 2:13 p.m. Busy but good, just grabbing a quick tea. You? Within seconds, the reply pops up. Nathan, 2:13 p.m. On back-to-back calls. Some partnership deals. Wish I had a tea break too. Nathan, 2:14 p.m. Don't forget, next Tuesday is the appointment, right? 3 p.m. Emma's gaze drifts to the ring circled on her calendar in her planner, her prenatal appointment. She texts back, confirming the time. He replies with a simple thumbs-up emoji, followed by, Nathan, 2:15 p.m. Can't wait. She pockets her phone, a quiet smile tugging at her lips. For all her fears, it's oddly comforting to have someone as invested in the baby as she is. Finishing her tea, she heads back to the office. That weekend, Emma's personal bubble receives another little jolt when Marissa, her closest friend, invites her over for a quiet dinner. The invitation is a reprieve from the bustle of the city, and Emma accepts, though she braces for the inevitable questions Marissa might pose. Marissa's apartment brims with warmth, mismatched throw pillows, the scent of fresh basil from the small herb garden on the windowsill, and a half-finished puzzle strewn across the coffee table. They cook a simple pasta dish together, chatting about everything except Nathan, until Marissa finally broaches the topic once they settle at the table. "So," Marissa begins casually, swirling pasta on her fork, "I couldn't help noticing you've been different lately, more introspective. Something to do with Mr. $1 Million donation, maybe?" Emma inhales, her eyes drifting to the overhead light fixture. She's known this conversation was coming. She can't keep everything bottled up forever. "Nathan and I, well, we've reconnected. We're working through some things." Marissa arches an eyebrow. "Things?" Her heartbeat flutters as she considers how much to reveal. After a long moment, she decides honesty is inevitable. She lowers her gaze, voice tight with nerves. "I'm pregnant, Marissa, and it's Nathan's baby." A stunned silence hushes the kitchen. Marissa's fork clatters onto her plate. For an instant, Emma fears shock will give way to judgment or a barrage of questions. But Marissa's expression quickly softens into concern. "Oh my God, Emma, why didn't you tell me sooner?" Emma exhales shakily. "Because everything was complicated, and I didn't know how to handle it. I only told Nathan recently. At the gala, actually. He thought I was married or engaged. We both had misconceptions." Marissa leans forward, eyes brimming with empathy. "So, what's the plan now?" Emma shrugs, tears pricking her eyes. "We're figuring it out. We want to keep it private for a while. He's coming with me to the next appointment. We're not sure how we'll handle the public side of things. His name draws attention." Marissa reaches across the table, covering Emma's hand. "Hey, you don't have to have all the answers right now. But I'm here, okay? Whatever you need." Relief floods Emma. She nods, blinking away moisture. "Thank you. I was worried you'd judge me or something." "Oh, hush." Marissa waves off the notion with a grin. "You have enough on your mind without me adding to it. Just promise you'll keep me in the loop. No more bombshells 2 weeks later, deal?" Emma laughs, the tension dissipating. "Deal." Their conversation shifts to lighter topics. Baby name ideas, potential cravings, how Nathan's presence might or might not fit into Emma's daily routine. When Emma finally leaves that night, she feels lighter, like she's given herself permission to have a support system beyond the fragile alliance with Nathan. It's a start, she thinks, one step at a time. Tuesday arrives in a blur of mild morning sickness and administrative errands. By 2:45 p.m., Emma is seated in a pastel-toned waiting room at the obstetrician's office. Pregnant women in various stages of expectancy occupy the rows of chairs, some reading magazines, others tapping on phones, a few quietly smiling at their bellies. Emma clutches her small purse, a tingle of nerves dancing in her stomach as she glances at the clock. Where is Nathan? Just then, the waiting room door opens, and there he is, slightly out of breath, dressed in business casual attire, with an apologetic smile curving his lips. "Hey," he breathes, taking the empty seat beside her. "Sorry. Traffic from my last meeting was insane." She offers a tight-lipped smile, partly from relief, partly from the nerves of having him here. "I was starting to wonder if you'd changed your mind." Nathan's eyes flicker with something like concern. "Never. Just city gridlock." He catches his breath and then glances around, noticing the rows of expectant mothers. "So, what happens now?" Before she can answer, a nurse appears, calling Emma's name. They both stand. The nurse, a friendly woman in her 40s, leads them down a hallway and into a small exam room. The walls are adorned with diagrams of fetal development, and the exam table is covered in a crisp, crinkling sheet of paper. A machine for ultrasounds stands in the corner, cables coiled neatly. Emma's doctor enters shortly after, smiling warmly at Emma, then nodding politely at Nathan. Dr. Collins has a reassuring presence, her short, curly hair framing a face that radiates experience and kindness. "Emma, good to see you. And you must be the father?" Nathan clears his throat, extending a hand with a polite smile. "Yes, I'm Nathan." Dr. Collins shakes his hand. "Nice to meet you." She turns to Emma, scanning the notes in her folder. "So this appointment is a routine check, right? We'll measure your vitals, go over any symptoms. Possibly do a quick ultrasound if we need to check on the baby's growth." Emma nods, heartbeat thudding. She glances at Nathan, who gives a small, encouraging smile. For the next few minutes, Dr. Collins performs all the standard checks: blood pressure, weight, a few questions about diet, and any discomfort. Emma answers dutifully, hyper-aware of Nathan's watchful eyes. Then Dr. Collins gestures to the ultrasound machine. "Why don't we take a quick look? Nothing too in-depth today, but it'll let us confirm the heartbeat and measure baby's growth." Nerves tangle with excitement as Emma shifts onto the exam table and lifts her sweater enough to expose her midsection. Nathan hovers close, mindful not to crowd the doctor's workspace, but Emma can sense his anticipation in the tension of his posture. Dr. Collins squirts a cool gel onto Emma's belly and moves the transducer wand carefully across. Within seconds, the monitor flickers with grainy black and white images, small movements in a mysterious swirl. Dr. Collins points out the baby's head, arms, and a flickering heartbeat that pulses like a tiny beacon. "Everything looks good," she murmurs, adjusting the angle. "Strong heartbeat, measuring right where we want at this stage." Emma's eyes mist over. No matter how many times she's seen these scans, each glimpse of her child feels like a miracle. Her gaze darts to Nathan, whose expression is transfixed, equal parts awe and wonder. He leans closer, voice hushed. That's them?" Emma barely manages a nod. She can see tears threatening in his eyes, too. The reality of the moment hits her with exquisite force. This is no longer just her journey, but theirs, a fragile, hopeful thread weaving them together. Dr. Collins prints a couple of images, handing them to Emma with a reassuring nod. "Baby's healthy. Keep doing what you're doing and make sure you're following up with the prenatal vitamins we prescribed." Emma wipes away the gel, heart buoyed by relief. The doctor steps out briefly to let her get sorted, instructing them to schedule the next visit at the front desk. Nathan gently helps Emma sit up, his face still etched with quiet amazement. "Thank you," he whispers, voice trembling. "Thank you for letting me be here." She meets his gaze, something soft and unguarded flaring within her. "I'm glad you came." The hush of the small room magnifies the thump of her heart. She glances down at the ultrasound photo. "It's different when someone else sees what I've been feeling these past months." Nathan swallows hard, a tentative hand hovering over Emma's belly. "Is it okay if he asks, his meaning clear. She nods, sliding forward so his palm can rest gently on the curve of her abdomen. Though the baby's movements aren't constant at this stage, a faint flutter stirs, as though responding to his touch. Emma's breath catches, tears welling in her eyes. For a long moment, the two of them linger there, connected by that small life nestled between them. Eventually, Dr. Collins knocks and re-enters, smiling politely at the tender scene. Emma stands, adjusting her sweater. She and Nathan follow the doctor out into the corridor, discussing scheduling details with the receptionist. Nathan immediately volunteers to handle any insurance queries or additional fees. Emma flushes, half touched, half unsure if she wants him taking charge, but in the end, she allows it, relieved not to juggle finances alone. They exit into the bright afternoon sunshine. The city hustle seems jarringly at odds with the emotional reverence they just experienced. Nathan escorts Emma to her car, a gentle hand at her elbow. "You okay to drive?" he asks softly. She nods, though her mind is still spinning. "Yeah, That was big." Nathan's expression overflows with empathy. It really was. He hesitates, stepping around to face her more directly. Listen, I have to get back to the office for a late meeting, but can we talk tonight? Maybe dinner? My place, if that's easier? Or I can bring takeout to your apartment. Whatever you prefer. She studies him, recalling the swirl of questions still unanswered. Yet the ultrasound memory glows in her mind like a beacon of promise. Maybe it's time to let him in further. Come over around 7, she decides. We can pick up where we left off. A relieved grin crosses his face. Perfect. I'll grab some decent food on the way. Any cravings? Emma bites her lip. Thai might be good. She shrugs sheepishly. I've been craving curry for a week. He chuckles. Then Thai it is. He dips his head in a subtle goodbye, then steps away. See you soon. She gets in her car, watching as he strides off toward the parking garage across the street. Despite her guarded heart, a new warmth spreads through her, tethering her to a sense of hope she hasn't felt in years. As she starts the engine, the ultrasound photo on the passenger seat catches her eye. In a city full of noise and ambition, she and Nathan have carved out a quiet, profound connection for the sake of a child neither of them expected. And for the first time, Emma allows herself to imagine a future where she doesn't have to face every battle alone. A future where their fragile partnership might grow into something stronger and more enduring, just like that fluttering heartbeat on the screen. A soft knock on the apartment door signals Nathan Fuller's arrival, right on schedule, 7 p.m. exactly. Emma Walker sets down the plates she's been arranging on her small second-hand dining table. Her pulse quickens. Although she's spent time with Nathan over the last 2 weeks, exchanging texts, meeting briefly for lunch, this evening feels more momentous. It's their first real attempt at a quiet, domestic moment together since learning they're going to be parents. Emma crosses the modest living room in a few strides, stopping to steady her breath before unlocking the door. Nathan stands in the hallway, a paper bag with Thai food in hand. The tantalizing aroma of curry and fresh herbs wafts in. He offers a warm smile, eyebrows lifting in greeting. Hey, he says gently. Hey, she echoes, stepping aside so he can enter. That smells great. Thanks for picking it up. Once inside, Nathan takes in the apartment with a thoughtful glance. The cozy couch, the pile of books near the TV, a few fresh flowers Emma placed on the table. Thanks for having me over, he says. I wasn't sure if I should bring anything else, but I figured dinner was a start. She smiles, shutting the door behind him. Dinner is perfect. They head to the small kitchen area where Emma helps unpack the containers. Steaming green curry, stir-fried vegetables, jasmine rice. Despite the day's anxieties, she feels a flicker of excitement. The meal is simple, but the meaning behind it weighs heavily. A shared evening, an attempt at forging a path that neither planned for but both are determined to navigate. Emma gestures to the couch. We can eat here or at the table, whichever you prefer. I set out plates in case we do a proper sit-down. Nathan glances between the cozy couch and the tidy table, then meets her gaze. The table's nice, he decides. Might as well pretend we have a formal dining ritual. A playful note tinges his voice, but there's sincerity behind it. They settle at the table, plates heaped with fragrant curry. For a few minutes they exchange small talk, the usual disclaimers of how busy the day was or the errands each has to tackle. A soft tension lingers, though not unpleasant. It's the weight of unspoken thoughts they both sense rising to the surface. Eventually, Emma sets down her fork and clears her throat. So, the doctor's appointment was kind of surreal, wasn't it? She fiddles with a napkin. I've had a few ultrasounds already, but that was the first time someone else was there. Nathan's expression flickers with warmth. I still can't get over seeing the baby on the screen. I mean, I've had big business deals, launched companies, but nothing compares to hearing that heartbeat. He exhales, voice thick with emotion. Thank you again for letting me share that. Emma's chest tightens at his sincerity. I'm glad you were there. Then a hint of a smile plays on her lips. The baby actually kicked a bit more after we left. Must have been all the excitement. Nathan's eyes widen in fascination. Really? He's quiet for a moment, as if imagining it. I'd do anything to feel that someday, like an actual kick under my hand. Her gaze drifts to her belly. It's still subtle, but it's getting stronger every week. I'm sure you'll get your chance. Silence falls between them, not awkward but charged. Emma contemplates how to bridge the next subject. The complexities of going public or the swirl of media speculation that might arise once the news breaks. She decides to start gently. Have you told anyone else yet? Your PR team? Family? Nathan sets his fork down, brow creasing. No one, aside from my personal assistant, May. She suspected something was up with my calendar changes, like how I cleared everything for the doctor's appointment. She's discreet, though. I trust her implicitly. Emma tries to imagine the stoic board members at Nathan's tech company reacting to the news that their superstar CEO is expecting a child with a woman most of them have never heard of. Will they see it as a liability, or will they spin it into a heartwarming narrative? The thought unsettles her. Your board might have opinions, she says gently. Are you worried about that? Nathan leans back in his chair, gaze contemplative. They'll have opinions, sure, they always do, about my personal life, my public persona, everything. He shrugs, meeting her eyes. But I'm done letting them dictate my life. This is bigger than any corporate deal or brand image. Emma's heart flutters in a mix of relief and lingering apprehension. I just don't want you to regret getting involved. Once they find out, your time might not be your own anymore. The media will pick it up. People might question your decisions. He reaches across the table, gently resting a hand over hers. Emma, I'd regret it more if I didn't stand by you, by our child. I spent too many years living in a corporate bubble. I'm ready to make room for what truly matters. Her throat constricts with emotion. The unwavering look in his eyes beckons her to trust, to let go of some of the fear. Thank you, she whispers. They resume eating, tension easing bit by bit. Emma can't ignore the flicker of gratitude swelling in her chest, that for once she's not facing an unknown alone. After they finish, Nathan helps clear the table, stacking containers in the sink. Emma's about to suggest dessert, maybe ice cream from the freezer, when her phone vibrates on the counter. She picks it up, seeing Marissa's name flash across the screen. Hey, Emma answers, placing the phone to her ear. Everything okay? Marissa's voice crackles with excitement. Emma, you're not going to believe this. I just got an email from that society column, the Beacon Times, asking questions about you and Mr. Fuller, like how you managed to secure that $1 million match. They're hinting at some personal relationship. Did you leak anything? Emma's pulse spikes. She glances at Nathan, who frowns at her sudden change in posture. No, of course not. I didn't leak anything, she says quickly. Well, they're fishing for a story. They asked if you two have been involved for a while, or if this was a strategic philanthropic stunt. I told them we have no comment. But heads up, they might try other avenues. Emma's stomach twists. Thanks for letting me know, Marissa. I appreciate it. She ends the call and sets the phone down, exhaling sharply. Nathan steps closer. What is it? She explains, voice taut with concern. A local columnist is poking around about me and you, trying to connect the dots about the Gala donation. They don't know about the pregnancy, obviously, but they're suspicious there's more to the story. Nathan's jaw tightens. It's starting already. I'm sorry. I'll get my PR team on it first thing tomorrow. Maybe we can do some damage control. Emma nods, fighting a wave of anxiety. The last thing she wants is to see tabloids speculating about their relationship. I'm not sure what to do. If we deny everything, they might dig harder, but if we confirm we're seeing each other, then they might sense a bigger secret, Nathan finishes, stepping forward to gently rest a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "We'll handle it. Let's not panic. If it escalates, I'll set up a tactful statement, something that acknowledges our reconnecting but doesn't expose the pregnancy." Emma leans into his touch slightly, trying to steady her nerves. "We can't keep this under wraps forever. But I'm not ready for the world to know. Not yet." He nods, gaze sympathetic. "I understand. We can take it day by day. Maybe if the rumors pick up, we simply confirm we used to date in college and have reconnected as friends. That might satisfy the gossip for a while." The rational solution brings some relief, yet Emma can't quell the dread that publicity might overshadow the delicate bond they're forging. "Okay," she says softly. "We'll see how it goes." They drift into the living room, leaving the tense conversation behind in the kitchen. Emma sinks onto the couch, arms folded protectively across her chest. Nathan sits beside her, a safe distance yet close enough that she can sense his steady presence. A hush settles. "You know," he murmurs, "I'd give anything to protect you from the media circus. But I also realize we'll need a plan for how to share the baby news when the time comes." Emma sighs, crossing her ankles. "Part of me wishes we could disappear into some remote cabin until after the baby's born." He chuckles ruefully. "Believe me, I've thought about it. My board would probably explode if I went off-grid for that long." She can't help but grin, the tension easing. "You're right, it's not realistic." Nathan runs a hand through his hair, eyes flickering with determination. "But we can control parts of the story. When we do go public, let's do it on our terms. A brief statement from both of us, maybe an interview with a respectable outlet. We highlight the child's future and our commitment as co-parents without inviting a big scandal." Emma weighs his words, imagining the swirl of cameras, the smug speculation about whether she's a gold digger or he's using a child to soften his image. Doubts linger, but hearing him articulate a measured approach helps anchor her. That sounds doable. A small, contented silence enfolds them. In that moment, the swirl of public curiosity falls away, leaving just two people on a couch grappling with an unexpected love story that has transformed into parenthood. Emma's hand drifts reflexively to her stomach. Almost as if sensing her thoughts, the baby gives a gentle nudge. She exhales, a half-smile tugging at her lips. "You okay?" Nathan asks. She nods, eyes shining. "I felt a little movement. The baby's been more active lately." A slow grin spreads across Nathan's face, a mixture of awe and longing. "That must be indescribable." Emma reaches for his hand and places it over the spot. They wait. After a few seconds, there's another faint flutter. Nathan's expression lights up like he's witnessed a miracle. Emotion tightens his throat and he leans closer, pressing a light kiss to Emma's temple on an impulse of gratitude. She closes her eyes, letting herself savor the moment. It's a fleeting instant of closeness, so tender and personal that it almost startles them both. He pulls back, eyes searching hers for any sign he's overstepped. Emma finds herself blushing, but she doesn't move away. Instead, she rests her head on the back of the couch, feeling the exhaustion of the day mingle with a fragile sense of contentment. Time drifts. At some point, Nathan glances at the clock on the wall and sighs. "I should probably head out soon. Early meeting tomorrow." His tone is regretful. "But can I see you again later this week? Maybe catch up on how you're feeling, or just—" She nods, smiling softly. "I'd like that. We can pick a day." Relief brightens his features. He stands, and Emma follows him to the door. Their parting is gentle, a light squeeze of hands, eyes locked in a silent promise. Neither says the words swirling in their hearts, but the tenderness in their expressions speaks volumes. When he's gone, Emma leans against the closed door, letting out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. Tonight's dinner was more than a shared meal. It was a quiet affirmation that despite the complexities, media attention, corporate boards, and her own guarded independence, they can still carve out moments of genuine connection. She pads back into the living room, noticing the empty takeout containers and the lingering scent of curry. A new sense of resolve floods her veins. She can do this. They can do this. She's not certain what shape their relationship will ultimately take, or how long it'll withstand public scrutiny. But the baby's soft kicks remind her that life doesn't always wait for perfect circumstances. Sometimes it simply asks for courage and hope. And tonight, for the first time in a long while, Emma dares to believe they both have enough of each to make this extraordinary journey together. Days turn into a quiet routine for Emma Walker and Nathan Fuller, a delicate dance between cautious optimism and the looming threat of exposure. Emma continues her work at the charity, tying up any final business from the gala and quietly starting to plan new initiatives for the children's programs. Nathan, true to his word, carves out time between meetings and corporate obligations to check on Emma, sometimes driving across town just to bring her lunch or help carry groceries upstairs to her apartment. Their evenings are often spent together in Emma's cozy living room, sharing simple dinners or chatting about baby names. Emma finds herself opening up, little by little, about her childhood and her fears of being a single mother. In turn, Nathan talks about the pressures from his board and investors, about how the immense success he's built feels hollow if he can't live authentically. The pregnancy itself is marching forward too. At nearly 6 months, Emma's baby bump is no longer subtle. She's thankful that the winter weather justifies wearing coats and loose sweaters which help disguise her changing silhouette whenever she's out in public. But with each week that passes, she knows it'll become harder to hide. One blustery afternoon, Emma stands by her window, watching gray clouds roll in over the city. She sees a small crowd of teenagers passing on the sidewalk below, laughing and huddling against the wind. Her phone chimes. A call from the charity's executive director, Alan. "Emma," Alan says, voice crackling over the line, "I just got word from a major sponsor who wants a face-to-face with you. Something about a potential new project." Emma raises an eyebrow. "That's great news. Which sponsor?" Alan's tone is hesitant. "They said they're from the Garrison Group. Don't you recall they had a smaller presence at our gala last year?" Emma thinks back, remembering a polite but unremarkable conversation with a representative from that conglomerate. "Yeah, vaguely. Did they mention a date or place?" "Tomorrow afternoon, at their offices on Pine Street." Alan hesitates. "They specifically asked for you. Sounded urgent." "All right," Emma says, curiosity piqued. "I'll confirm with them and go. Hopefully it's something good for the kids." They exchange goodbyes. Emma hangs up, a hint of excitement stirring. A new sponsor could be a boon to the organization, especially while her position remains stable. She's determined to keep her professional life intact, even if or when the news of her pregnancy breaks. The following day, Emma sets out for the Garrison Group offices. She's donned a flowing blouse and a loose blazer, hoping it will diminish attention to her growing belly. The building itself is all glass and steel, a towering testament to corporate might. A polite receptionist escorts her to a polished conference room on the 25th floor. Inside, 2 individuals wait, a middle-aged man in a tailored suit and a younger woman, stylishly dressed with an air of confidence. Emma offers a polite handshake to each. "Ms. Walker," the man says with a warm, practiced smile, "I'm Stephen Garrison, Managing Director here. Thank you for coming on short notice." Emma notes that the younger woman doesn't introduce herself, simply watches Emma with a hint of curiosity. "Of course," Emma replies, taking a seat. "I'm interested to hear more about your idea for supporting the charity." Stephen steeples his fingers. "The Garrison Group has been expanding into philanthropic ventures. We were impressed by how you secured such a massive donation at the recent gala. That $1 million match from Mr. Fuller, quite a coup." Emma's spine stiffens slightly, wary of the angle. "It was unexpected, but we're grateful for his generosity." Indeed. Stephen's gaze flicks to the silent woman beside him. We're exploring the possibility of a joint initiative, a mentorship program for at-risk youth, possibly at a nationwide scale. We'd be providing significant funding if we can align with the right partners. Emma brightens. That's a remarkable goal. Futures for Children would definitely be interested in such a collaboration. We have experience running smaller mentoring programs. Scaling up has always been our dream. Precisely, Stephen says, his smile widening. But to make this happen, we need to ensure our partners are prepared for public scrutiny and, more importantly, can maintain stable relationships with other sponsors. Reputation matters a great deal to us. Emma nods. She's accustomed to hearing about brand integrity from potential donors. Of course, we keep a transparent profile. If you'd like references or data from our previous donors, I can provide plenty of... Actually, the younger woman interrupts, leaning forward with a cool expression. Our concern isn't with your professional track record, Ms. Walker. It's with your personal one. A chill slides down Emma's spine. I'm sorry? Stephen clears his throat, as if stepping in before the woman can sharpen her words further. We understand you have a close connection to Nathan Fuller. The press has been hinting at some personal entanglement, and we're aware Mr. Fuller isn't your husband. We wanted to confirm how that relationship might affect any public-facing philanthropic campaigns. Emma's heart pounds. She keeps her composure, though a flush creeps into her cheeks. My personal life shouldn't impact our charitable mission. If Garrison Group is worried about scandal, you can rest assured there's nothing sensational going on. The woman arches an eyebrow. Is that so? Because rumor has it Mr. Fuller's direct donation to your organization was fueled by more than simple altruism. And now you've been seen meeting each other socially. We pride ourselves on stable partnerships, Ms. Walker. We can't risk a fiasco if the press decides to twist the narrative. A swirl of anger stirs in Emma's gut. She wants to retort that the baby is none of their business, that her relationship with Nathan is personal. But she knows losing her cool might jeopardize a potential partnership that could help countless children. She settles for measured politeness. Whatever Mr. Fuller's or my personal circumstances might be, the charity's reputation remains solid, she says, voice steady. We've maintained positive media coverage, and any speculation is purely rumor. Our donors respect our work. End of story. Stephen smiles thinly. Thank you for clarifying. However, we prefer absolute transparency. Should you become the center of a media storm, it might overshadow Garrison's philanthropic efforts. We'd like assurance that your arrangement with Mr. Fuller won't erupt into controversy. Emma's nails dig into her palms beneath the table. Your concerns are noted, but if a philanthropic partnership hinges on the personal life of a single staff member, then perhaps we need to reassess our compatibility, yes? The younger woman huffs softly, unimpressed. Stephen lifts a hand. We don't wish to offend, Ms. Walker. We simply need to be cautious. Let's put it this way. If we proceed, we'll require your explicit cooperation in controlling any narratives that might arise. You understand? Emma forces a nod. I understand. That said, I won't compromise my personal privacy. A brief silence follows, tension crackling in the air. Stephen stands, signaling the meeting's end with a polished facade of politeness. We appreciate your time. We'll be in touch once we finalize our proposals. Emma rises, shaking his hand politely. The woman offers a curt nod. As Emma exits the conference room, she struggles to keep her shoulders squared. Each step down the corridor feels heavier. She can't shake the sense that they were fishing for evidence, any sign that Nathan's relationship with her might become a scandal. In the elevator ride down, Emma's heart drums in her chest. She imagines the press discovering her pregnancy, publishing flashy headlines about a charity organizer who secretly carried the CEO's child. The fear that once simmered on the edges of her mind now feels imminent, like a ticking clock. Outside, the winter wind stings her cheeks as she hurries to her car. She presses a hand against her belly, a silent vow forming in her thoughts. I won't let these people turn my baby into a PR spectacle. As soon as Emma slides into the driver's seat, she calls Nathan. He answers after a couple of rings. Emma, everything okay? Her voice trembles with residual anger. I just had a meeting with some potential donors, Garrison Group. They basically grilled me about our relationship, worried about the bad press it could cause. Are you aware of them? They're huge, apparently. Nathan groans softly. I know the name. They've circled some deals in my orbit, but we never finalized anything. They're very PR conscious. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. Emma sighs. They claim they might sponsor a big mentorship program, but only if I can guarantee no scandal. The woman there basically insinuated I'd better keep my private life squeaky clean, or else. A pause. Nathan's voice tightens. So now your personal life is on trial? That's ridiculous. I agree, she mutters. She exhales, leaning her head against the steering wheel. But the problem is, if Garrison invests big money in the charity, it could mean so much for the kids. I don't want to lose that funding because of some rumor about us. Nathan's tone softens. I get it, but we can't let them hold you or the baby hostage to their corporate image. Listen, let me see what my PR team can do. Maybe we can calm the gossip before it escalates. And if they keep pressuring you, we'll find another sponsor who respects boundaries. Emma rubs her temple. She's drained, emotional, a swirl of half-formed fears pressing in. Okay, but what if this is the tip of the iceberg? As soon as the pregnancy becomes obvious, everyone will have an opinion. Sponsors, donors, the media. Hey! Nathan's voice is warm, reassuring. We'll handle it together, step by step. You're not alone in this. Those words bring a wave of relief, though the tension remains. Thank you, she whispers. I just never imagined that trying to do good for these kids would lead to my personal life being scrutinized. I know, he says gently, but you're doing great, and we'll shield you as much as possible. Emma closes her eyes, letting the warmth of Nathan's concern soothe her. All right, she breathes. I'll head home now. Maybe we can talk tonight? Absolutely, he says. Call me when you're settled. We'll figure out a plan to keep Garrison off your back, or we'll find a better sponsor. Promise. They say their goodbyes, and Emma cradles the phone in her lap for a moment. The world outside her windshield is tinted gray by the clouds, but she allows herself to picture a sliver of sunlight breaking through. If Garrison backs away, so be it. Other donors exist. And if the press circles, maybe the best defense is the quiet certainty that she and Nathan are building something real, something worth protecting. Starting the car, Emma drives away from the tower of gleaming glass, determination mingling with a surge of fierce protectiveness. She glances at her reflection in the rearview mirror. There's a new resolve in her eyes. No matter what corporate strong-arming or tabloid whispers arise, she won't compromise the life she's nurturing. The baby's faint kicks have become her silent anthem. Stand tall, keep going. Because in the end, she's not just a charity organizer or a footnote in someone else's headlines. She's a mother-to-be, forging a future with a man she once loved and might love again, despite every obstacle the world insists on throwing their way. A restless night turns into a tense morning for Emma Walker. The conversation with the Garrison Group from the day before still hovers in her mind, like a storm cloud threatening to burst. Even after talking things through with Nathan Fuller, she can't shake the feeling that the scrutiny around their relationship and her growing pregnancy will only intensify. When she opens her laptop at the charity's small, sunlit office, Emma's inbox is already flooded with new emails. She scans through donation inquiries, volunteer applications, and a few meeting requests. She's relieved to see no direct messages from Garrison, but a dull ache in her stomach warns her that the silence might be temporary. Something is brewing, and she can feel it. Her friend and colleague Marissa steps into the office, balancing a tray of coffee cups. "Morning," she says brightly. "Figured you could use a caffeine boost. Well, decaf in your case. She places one of the cups on Emma's desk with a knowing smile. Emma musters a small laugh, grateful for Marissa's attempt at normalcy. You read my mind. Sipping the warm drink, she appreciates the fleeting comfort. Thanks. It's been a wild week. Still dealing with that Garrison stuff? Emma nods, closing an email. They didn't say no outright, but their approach was borderline threatening. They're worried about me and Nathan, any scandal that might overshadow their philanthropic image. Marissa makes a face, leaning against a nearby desk. That's so shallow. Don't they realize this is about helping kids, not grading your personal life? Apparently not. Emma sighs. At this point, I'd rather find another donor, but I also don't want to turn down a potential $1 million partnership that could benefit the children. She presses her palm gently over her baby bump, feeling a ripple of movement. Everything's complicated. Marissa's expression softens. You have to do what's best for you and the organization. If Garrison tries to micromanage your personal life, it's not worth it. There are other corporate donors out there. Emma nods, though the tension in her gut doesn't subside. She returns to her inbox, mind whirling with contingency plans. After a while, she decides to take a break and step outside for fresh air. Tugging on a warm coat to hide her bump, she exits the building into the crisp morning. The sun glints off nearby skyscrapers, a reminder of the city's relentless hustle. As she walks down the block, her phone buzzes in her coat pocket. She checks the screen, relieved to see Nathan's name. Hey, she answers, stepping into a quiet alcove by a corner cafe. Nathan's voice, usually calm, crackles with urgency. Emma, I just got off a call with my PR lead. They've picked up rumors that a local columnist is about to publish something about us. Nothing confirmed yet, but my team says it's more than idle gossip. Emma's heart stutters. Do they know I'm pregnant? Nathan hesitates. We're not sure. They might only have half the story, possibly referencing the donation, your position at the charity, and my frequent visits to your neighborhood. But if they dig deeper... She closes her eyes, the noise of the street fading behind her rapid pulse. This is exactly what I was worried about. I know. My PR team recommends a preemptive statement, something that acknowledges we're reconnecting but doesn't spill everything. I wanted to check with you before I make any moves. Emma's breath hitches. She pictures tabloids splashing a headline, Charity organizer and tech CEO's secret affair? Or worse. Still, she's not ready for the world to know about the pregnancy. Maybe a simple confirmation that we're dating, or seeing each other again without going into details. Do you think that'll keep them from digging? It might slow them down, Nathan replies. They might see a dating story as less juicy than some rumored scandal. Then we can keep the baby private for a bit longer, at least until we feel ready. She nods against the phone. All right, let's do it, but keep it minimal. I don't want Garrison or other sponsors thinking they can pry. Understood. I'll have my team craft a short release. No mention of the baby at all, just clarifying that we have a personal history from college and recently reconnected. We'll keep it about our friendship-turned-dating situation. Emma's shoulders relax marginally. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. They agree to review the draft statement together before anything goes public. After hanging up, Emma stares at the bustling city street. In the reflection of a shop window, she notices her coat bulging slightly at the front, proof that her baby is no longer a secret she can hide forever. A swirl of protectiveness surges within her. She's not ashamed of this child. She simply wants control over how the news breaks. That evening, Emma finds herself back home, pacing the living room while scanning the draft statement Nathan's PR team has emailed. She's invited Nathan over again, and any minute now he should walk through the door. In her hand, she holds the printed copy of the proposed press release. Mr. Nathan Fuller, founder and CEO of Visionaire Tech, wishes to confirm that he and Ms. Emma Walker, a longtime friend and colleague from university, have recently reconnected in a personal capacity. They value their privacy and respectfully request that media outlets refrain from speculation about their professional collaboration. No further details will be provided at this time. Emma reads it twice, swallowing the knot in her throat. It sounds clinical, but perhaps that's best. Neutral words to calm the frenzy. She wonders if people will buy it, or if this statement will only inflame their curiosity. A knock at the door disrupts her thoughts. Emma opens it to find Nathan with a folder in hand. His hair is slightly tousled from the winter wind, and concern etches faint lines around his eyes. "Hey," she greets, letting him in. "I was just going over the draft." "Same," he says, stepping into the living room. "I'd prefer not to release any statement at all, but my team insists this might head off the tabloids." Emma motions for him to join her on the couch. They settle close, a comfortable familiarity in their posture. The baby kicks gently, as if also acknowledging Nathan's presence. Emma rests a hand on her abdomen, an unspoken reassurance. "I think it's okay," she murmurs. "They're not calling me your girlfriend outright, just referencing our college history. That should confirm we're seeing each other without sounding sensational." Nathan nods, flipping open his folder to reveal some bulleted notes from his PR team. They also suggest we do a low-key interview in a month or so if speculation spikes again. Something small, like a local paper, just to show good faith. But we can cross that bridge later. Emma grimaces. "An interview? That's the last thing I want. But if it's necessary..." He leans back, exhaling. "Let's not commit yet. We'll see how this statement lands." A pause. "How was work today?" She recounts a quiet day of sorting new volunteer applications and responding to queries from smaller donors. The Garrison group didn't reach out, which Emma isn't sure is a good or bad sign. Maybe they're waiting to see how the rumor mill plays out, she muses. If the press labels me as some tabloid figure, Garrison might pull back. Nathan sets a comforting hand on her shoulder. "We'll figure it out. And if Garrison decides to bail, your organization will survive. You'll find another donor, I promise." Warmth flows through her at his confidence. They discuss strategies for future sponsor outreach and how to handle delicate in-person conversations about the donation match. Emma eventually stands, wandering into the kitchen to fetch water. Nathan follows, leaning against the counter as she fills 2 glasses. "You're quiet," she notes, peering at him. "Something else on your mind?" Nathan's gaze drops to the tiled floor. "Just this baby. We're nearly at 6 months, Emma. In a few weeks, we'll be in the final trimester. Sometimes it feels like time's slipping through my fingers. There's so much I want to do. Set up a nursery, buy all the baby stuff, research birthing classes." He looks at her earnestly. "But I don't know how to help without overstepping." A gentle wave of affection softens Emma's features. She slides a glass of water into his hand. "You're not overstepping. I appreciate that you want to be involved. I've done some research on my own, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't overwhelmed." He sips the water, nodding. "Then maybe we can tackle it together. We'll keep it quiet, no big store appearances. But we could browse baby essentials online or talk through stuff we'll need. And if you're open to it, we can do a small registry under a pseudonym to avoid tipping off reporters." Emma lets out a breathy laugh. "A pseudonym, huh? That's so spy-like. But yeah, that could work." She thinks of baby cribs, strollers, tiny onesies. A tender feeling blooms in her chest. It's strange imagining we'll have a real nursery somewhere. Maybe at my place or mine, Nathan says softly, meeting her gaze. "Or both, if we end up splitting time. I just want you to know that wherever the baby ends up sleeping, you have my support. Financially, emotionally, whatever it takes." Tears prick Emma's eyes at his heartfelt promise. She sets her water glass on the counter, impulsively stepping closer. "I know, thank you," she whispers, letting her forehead rest against his shoulder for a moment. He's warm, steady, everything she once feared losing. Now somehow he feels like the anchor she desperately needs. They stand there in the dim kitchen lighting, savoring a fragile moment of unity. The hush envelops them until the baby kicks again, earning a soft laugh from Emma. Nathan gently places a palm over her belly, feeling the faint thump beneath his touch. "Looks like they approve," he murmurs, voice thick with emotion. Emma breathes in, letting the closeness dissolve her tension, if only briefly. She's all too aware that soon they'll finalize that press statement and send it out to the world. Reporters might descend, sponsors might judge, Garrison might attempt more manipulation, but for now, in this modest apartment, it's just the three of them, a mother, a father, and a tiny heartbeat forging an unbreakable bond. Eventually, they drift back to the living room. Over the next hour, they pore over the press statement one last time, making minor edits. Emma's anxiety flares, but Nathan's presence keeps her grounded. She realizes that no matter what corporate empires or headlines try to twist their story, they have each other's backs. As the night stretches on, Nathan leans over to press send on his laptop. The official statement is out, a small ripple in the media ocean. He looks to Emma, who exhales sharply, relief and dread mingling. "It's done," she murmurs. "Now we wait." Nathan slips an arm around her shoulders. "Whatever happens, we'll handle it. Together." She nestles closer, letting that promise settle in her chest. Through every uncertain day and every unwanted spotlight, they'll keep fighting to protect what truly matters, the miracle growing inside her and the bond that's rekindling between them. In the hush of that moment, Emma finally lets herself believe that, despite all odds, they can craft a future worth embracing, one shaped by love, resilience, and the quiet triumph of choosing family over fear. The winter wind howls outside Emma Walker's apartment window, rattling the glass. Inside, in the soft glow of a floor lamp, Emma and Nathan Fuller sit side by side on the couch, scrolling through Emma's phone. They've been following the fallout from the press statement all day. While there's been a flurry of social media posts speculating on their reconnection and a couple of minor gossip column blurbs, it's surprisingly calmer than either anticipated. "It's not front-page scandal material," Nathan observes, letting out a half-laugh. "It's more like tech CEO has a college sweetheart, possible romance rekindled. Most of it is fairly tame." Emma exhales with relief. "That's good. I was bracing for conspiracy theories or photographers camped on my doorstep." She glances around the living room. So far, no paparazzi in sight, fingers crossed. Nathan sets the phone aside and gently places a hand on Emma's baby bump. She's into her final trimester now. Each week brings a new kind of anticipation and a fresh wave of anxiety. But having him close soothes her fraying nerves. "Any new flutters?" he asks, voice soft, as though speaking too loudly might scare off the moment. Emma nods, a small smile teasing her lips. "A lot. This baby seems to love early evenings, probably even more once he or she is awake enough to sense the chaos of the world out here." He shares her smile, the same look of wonder he's worn at every ultrasound and every gentle kick he's been lucky enough to feel. "I'm ready for that chaos," he says quietly. The next morning, Emma drives to the charity's office. Half distracted by a mild pain in her lower back, she chalks it up to normal pregnancy discomfort. She's juggling an upcoming mentorship project and a wave of new volunteers. As she steps through the door, Marissa waves her over, eyes wide with urgency. "Emma, you need to see this." On the office computer, Marissa brings up a headline from a local media blog. It's not about Emma or Nathan directly, but about the Garrison Group. The article claims Garrison is backing out of a rumored philanthropic partnership with Futures for Children, citing potential reputational issues. Marissa's face tightens. "They're basically throwing you under the bus." Emma reads through the piece, heart sinking. It's the worst-case scenario. Garrison's vague statements suggest that the charity's management, i.e., Emma, may have unresolved controversies. They don't mention her pregnancy, which they apparently don't know about, but they're using the rumor of her relationship with Nathan to justify the withdrawal. She clenches her jaw. So they never intended to finalize the partnership. They were just fishing for info and then blaming me for any potential drama. Marissa's gaze is sympathetic. I'm so sorry. But we'll find another way. The mentorship project will go on, even if it's scaled down for now. A hot flush of anger and disappointment washes through Emma. She's not only worried about her personal life being maligned, but also about the kids who might lose out on crucial funding. Still, a fierce protectiveness flares. If Garrison thinks they can bully her with reputational concerns, they're sorely mistaken. Emma quickly types out an internal memo to the charity's board, explaining the situation. She suggests focusing efforts on alternative donors and not engaging in a public spat. When she finishes, her phone buzzes, Nathan calling. I saw the headlines, he says, voice grim. I'm so sorry, Emma. Garrison's spin is unfair and unethical. She sighs, stepping into the hallway for privacy. They never said outright that it's because of you or me, but it's obvious. They're painting me as a liability. Let me help, Nathan offers. Visionaire Tech can step in, or I can leverage some of my contacts for corporate sponsorship. There are respectable companies out there who'd love to fund a mentorship program without poking into personal business. Emma's frustration simmers, but she can't deny she's grateful for Nathan's unwavering support. Thank you. Let's explore that. If we can secure a new partnership, maybe we can salvage the project. They decide to meet that evening with a small group from Nathan's network, trusted CEOs and philanthropists, to discuss bridging the funding gap. Emma is cautious. She doesn't want the kids' futures hinging on tabloid drama or corporate power plays. But as Nathan reminds her, sometimes using one's influence can be a force for good. That night, the hush of Emma's apartment is broken by the soft murmur of half a dozen voices. Around her small dining table, a few select business acquaintances of Nathan's share introductions. Their manner is polite, professional. Some are even starstruck to meet Emma, having heard about the charity's success. One by one, they mention potential ways to support the mentorship program, from partial grants to volunteer support. To Emma's relief, not a single question is asked about her personal relationship with Nathan, or whether she's pregnant. Everyone seems focused on the cause, a welcome change. Your organization's track record is impressive, Ms. Walker, says a woman named Andrea, who oversees a large scholarship foundation. I'd be honored to collaborate. We can start small and see if we can scale up. Emma exchanges a glance with Nathan, who winks. She can't believe how smoothly this is going. Finally, a constructive conversation, free from the meddling of corporate PR demands. Her heart warms at the possibility that these well-intentioned allies might replace Garrison's funding entirely. By the time the mini-meeting wraps up, Emma's on the verge of tears, but in a good way. She waves goodbye to their guests and then sags onto the couch, overwhelmed. Nathan lingers, finishing a quick phone call with his assistant. When he hangs up, he turns to find Emma with damp eyes. Concern floods his expression. Are you all right? Did something happen? Emma lets out a watery laugh. I'm fine, just grateful. For you, for those people, for not making me choose between my personal life and these kids. Nathan crosses the room, seating himself beside her. I told you. We'll figure it out. Garrison's not the end-all, be-all, and, to be honest, the new group we talked with seems more aligned with the charity's values anyway. She nods, leaning her head on his shoulder. I just hate that personal drama almost got in the way of the mission, but maybe it's a blessing in disguise. We don't need Garrison's money if it comes with strings. Nathan runs a comforting hand along her arm. Exactly, and hey, your board's excited about forging these new alliances. That's what matters. Emma sighs, the tension in her chest loosening. She's still mindful that her pregnancy remains a secret, one that can't stay hidden much longer. But at least now she can approach that revelation on her own timetable with allies in place who respect her work. A gentle kick from the baby makes her smile. She places a hand over her belly, feeling the reassuring thump. "You're staying active tonight," she murmurs to the child. Nathan grins, sliding closer. "Mind if I—" "Not at all." She takes his hand and places it where she last felt movement. They wait, breath held. After a moment, the baby delivers a firm nudge. Nathan's eyes widen, a mixture of awe and amusement lighting up his face. "That's the strongest kick yet," he says, voice hushed. Emma nods, tears welling again. "It's incredible, isn't it?" They remain there in a shared hush, bound by the life they've created, a life bridging the gap between two people who once drifted apart and have now found each other again in the most unexpected way. As winter eases towards spring, the city thaws, and with it, some of the tension around Emma and Nathan's announcement. The tabloids quickly move on to other stories after a week or two, realizing the rumored reunion offers little salacious detail. Garrison ceases its underhanded digs, especially once word spreads that Emma secured a new sponsorship circle. The charity's mentorship program is back on track, better funded and more ethically aligned than anything Garrison proposed. Emma even breathes a sigh of relief when Andrea's foundation commits to a pilot program. No more corporate puppeteers trying to meddle in her private life. Emma's pregnancy blossoms into a visible curve that can't be mistaken for anything else. A few co-workers raise eyebrows but mostly congratulate her quietly. Most assume Nathan is the father. Some guess they're engaged. Others remain politely uncertain. Emma smiles off the questions, determined to keep her personal life hers, at least until she's ready to share more widely. One crisp morning near the end of her 7th month, Emma strolls into her office to find a small baby gift on her desk, a plush blanket and a handwritten note from Marissa, wishing her and the baby well. Emma's eyes sting with emotion. She's come so far from those lonely days when she believed she'd face motherhood on her own. That evening, after finishing a warm dinner at Emma's place, Nathan surprises her with a soft grin. "Hey, do you have a moment for a little drive?" Her eyebrows lift. "Right now? It's late." He nods, eyes shining with excitement. "I promise it's worth it." Curious, and trusting him, she agrees. They bundle up and step outside, her belly making her movements slower. He ushers her gently into his car, and they set off through the city's quiet streets. Buildings tower against the starry sky, lights glowing in windows like miniature galaxies. "Where are we going?" Emma finally asks, half amused at his secrecy. "You'll see," Nathan replies, lips curving into a secretive smile. Eventually, they pull up to a well-kept building in a residential district, flanked by a row of trees. No skyscrapers here, just a calm, tree-lined avenue with neat sidewalks. Nathan kills the engine and steps out, offering his arm as Emma emerges. They walk toward the building's lobby. Emma notices a sign near the entrance, Caraway Lofts. Inside, the decor is modern but warm. Wooden floors, tasteful lighting. Her confusion grows until Nathan leads her down a hallway and unlocks a door. Inside is a vacant condominium, spacious yet cozy, with large windows overlooking a park. The floors glisten with fresh polish, and a hint of new paint lingers in the air. Emma's heart thumps as she takes in a living area big enough for a growing family, a kitchen with plenty of cabinet space, and a hallway leading to multiple bedrooms. Nathan gestures around with a sheepish grin. "I've been working on this quietly for a while. It's for us, if you want. A place that's bigger than your apartment or my bachelor pad. Something that's ours, together. But only if you're ready." Emma's eyes glisten. Her pulse pounds with a swirl of emotions, excitement, gratitude, and a trembling sense of hope. She drifts across the living room to the wide windows, gazing at the soft city lights in the distance. "Nathan, this is unbelievable." I don't know what to say. He steps beside her, voice gentle. Say you'll consider it. I'm not pressuring you to move in tomorrow, but I wanted to show you that I'm all in. If you need your own space, that's okay, but I can't stop picturing a nursery in that second bedroom, and us coming home after work to something that feels like a real home. Tears slip down her cheeks. She recalls the months of loneliness, the fear she carried when she first realized she was pregnant. Now, here stands the father of her child, offering not just financial support, but a true partnership. I love it, she whispers, turning to him. I do. I just still need time, but... Nathan cups her cheeks, softly wiping away her tears. Take all the time you need, he says, voice trembling with emotion. I'm not going anywhere. This place will be waiting whenever you're ready. She leans in, resting her forehead against his, breath shallow. There's no grand paparazzi swarm, no corporate boards hovering. It's just them, hearts thrumming in sync, forging a life that once felt impossible. In that unspoken moment, Emma understands that it's not about perfection or having every detail planned. It's about trust, choice, and the quiet certainty that they can face the world together. Tackling philanthropic challenges, corporate politics, and the joys and trials of parenthood with unwavering resolve. Thank you, she breathes, holding his gaze, for fighting for us, for this baby, for believing in me. His smile is soft, certain, always. Outside, the city continues its hum, people coming and going, deals being struck, headlines shifting. But Emma's heart is calm. She rests her hand over the gentle curve of her belly, Nathan's hand over hers, and in the hush of that newly revealed home, she dares to believe they've found something lasting. Tomorrow, they might face more gossip or new corporate entanglements, but tonight, hope blossoms brighter than the city lights. Because together, they've chosen love over fear, family over secrecy, and a future that glimmers with promise. A life in which the ticking clocks of boardrooms and tabloids can never overshadow the steady, precious heartbeat growing stronger every day. If you enjoyed this story, don't miss the next one. Just click on the screen